This show is sponsored by Great Kingdom Palace, giving life a meaning.
Welcome everybody to Get Close to the Truth. Now today's show is all about transformation. But before I tell you about today's special guest, I'm going to share a short story about myself. Now when I was in business the very first time round, I actually wasn't very confident. I borrowed a lot of money from my parents and my family, and I was always scared of failure. I was stressed, I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights, and I couldn't really kind of get myself together. But imagine at that time, if there was somebody who can transform my subconscious mind and my beliefs into becoming more confident. Well, today I have a very special guest who has used special Russian technology known as Kirlian photography to identify and look at your body, at the weaknesses, and helps you develop those in those areas. He's a registered homeopath, he's a licensed practitioner, but most importantly, he's a transformational coach. Let's please welcome Nigel Hutchings. How are we doing, Nigel? Good to see you. Take a seat.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
You're welcome.
So tell me, how did it all begin? Tell me your journey.
Well, at school I was really interested in science, physics, and what intrigued me was the idea that everything was made up of atoms, and that actually if you were to get an electron microscope and look at those atoms, you would see that they're really kind of floating in space, and that in fact there was more space in me and you and everything else than anything else. So that intrigued me. And you know, I was also interested in art, and that was a creative aspect of mine. And then I left school. I became a farmer.
Farmer?
And became a shepherd.
Excellent.
Married, had children. My wife was very interested in herbs and such likes. And she studied homeopathy, and I also went along and studied it with her. Then I went to India for a period of time, studied yoga, and followed a spiritual life for a period of time. Came back.
What made you turn into the spiritual life? What was
it was always a kind of something that drew me. I'm not really sure why I went that way. Actually, looking back, I can see that most of my life seems to be a series of little accidents. You know, something would happen and I would turn left, and something else would happen and I would turn right. After coming back from India, I started to teach yoga, and I also trained in hypnotherapy, and we set up one of the first natural health centres in the UK in probably 1980.
So obviously I was looking at your website, and obviously you are a registered homeopath,
Yeah.
okay, but you use a special technology known as Kirlian photography.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about that.
Well, Kirlian photography originated in Russia, and basically it's a way of being able to photograph the electromagnetic field that surrounds us all. We have a lot of electrical activity going on within us. Every time our heart beats, we have a thought or an emotion, a minute charge of electricity is produced. And the basic law of physics is that any electrical activity creates an electromagnetic field. So what we're doing is we're photographing that field, and we're looking at it and understanding the information that's contained within it. We do it by using a stream of electrons. So the electrons are a bit like the iron filings that you might throw around a magnet we used to do at school, and it would outline the
shape of the
shape
object.
of the field. And the electrons do a similar thing. They bounce off the field that we're creating, which creates a pattern, or what we call a Kirlian signature. And each person's is unique, and it says something about that person, and we have learned over the years to understand that information. We feed it back to them, and basically we're helping them see themselves in a new light.
Wow, and how long has this technology been out for?
It originated, as I say, in Russia in the early 30s.
Early 30s, that long?
Yeah.
But it's only coming, don't you find, it's only coming out really, because obviously now, recent times, it's more getting out there.
Yeah, well, we developed one of the first digital Kirlian cameras, which we sell all over the world to researchers and people who are interested in using the technology. And we train them as well. But we also use it in our own coaching practice, where, again, people will come to see us, and usually they're looking at ways of dealing with the stress or other issues that they have in their life. And we're able to introduce new ways of looking at stuff, so it changes the way that they feel about it. It's helping people to realize that they have the power
within themselves.
Exactly.
To change.
And they can plug into that power.
Well, before we talk about that, let's actually go through, because for those viewers that actually don't know what Kirlian photography is, let's actually look at some slides which Nigel's kindly sent to us. And here we go on the screen over here.
Yeah.
So what is this?
This is simply water that has been affected by a healer, and it's energized it more. I mean, we haven't got the before, but the before is not quite as vital. So really it's just showing the vitality that's within that water.
Okay.
And some water is more alive than others. I mean, the tap water, even though it's good enough, I mean, it's going through people's kidneys many times as it's recycled and pushed back into the main system. And of course it takes the energetic principle out of it, which isn't usually thought about.
No, it's not, no. And this?
This simply is the feet of a subject of before and after, and the person, and it's the same person's feet, but you can see before they had some reflexology and after it, and you can see subjectively they would say that the first photograph showing them feeling rather devoid of energy, and they had a bit of a headache at the time, and after the treatment it enlivened them, and their subjective feeling was they felt much better for it.
So this blue, if you like,
The corona.
this is the energetic field that you're talking about.
That's the field.
Which is basically all around our body.
Yeah, but really what we're seeing is the interference pattern between the energy field and the electrons, because we can't really see the field. It's like you can't see a magnetic field.
Of course.
But we're the electrons are like talcum powder. It's over the invisible man, and it creates the image that you see. And then we interpret that and analyze it.
And you kind of look at it where, so like, for example, if there's any gaps in there or any kind of, you can then analyze that. And because you've got some good ones of some other slides that I've come across, and this is the hands of the same person?
Yeah.
Showing the same, so where you got the gaps, is that where you then look at?
Well, the hands have a map that has been developed, and over the years, and different researchers have come up with different things. And what we've found is, because the left hand is connected through the nervous system to the right side of the brain, we're getting a reflection of activity in the right side of the brain, which is really to do with the emotional sense. Whereas the left hand is connected to the right side of the brain through the nervous system, and again we're getting a reflection of how we present ourselves, what it would look like. So if I'd taken my photograph before I came on, feeling rather nervous, I'm going to find probably that there's lots of gaps in my right hand, and I'm a bit more withdrawn. And as you become more confident with what you're doing, then the right hand would start to develop more. So it's in constant flux, you see. This is it. So we can interpret that.
Excellent. Because you did show me some really good slides of actually the food. I want to go on to the food slides. Because you showed me this something of was it an apple you showed me?
Yeah.
And then something that had gone into a microwave.
That's a Kirlian, yeah.
That's the actual Kirlian machine.
That's the machine
that's what you
we've
use.
developed. We've invented that, and
you've invented that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Because it used to be all very analog. Have to use chemistry and normal photographic film and paper. Well, with this, it's all digital, so it comes onto the screen immediately, so you can actually see what's going on.
you also do, I mean, this is the apple here, that's right, yeah? So
this is a real fresh apple. This is picked from the tree, and there you see it very bright and vibrant.
And then something in the microwave or something like that.
And now what you see is the energetic principle has been disturbed in some way. And so here we see it. And really, seeing is believing. You can really see the difference in those two. So the first one is really a piece of fruit full of the sunshine that it's taken on board. Whereas this is there. So you can imagine when you're eating that, you're actually eating the sunshine.
That's right, and you're getting all the goodness inside of you.
Exactly, which is not so much, even though that will be full of nutrients, we're looking at the next level. So we're looking at the minerals and vitamins as one level, then we're looking at the dynamic or vital principle of the fruit.
That's right.
And it's that which gives us our energy.
Yeah.
You know.
Really powerful stuff. Well, listen, we're going to take a short break. Don't go too far, because when we come back, Nigel will be taking some questions all across from the viewers at home and in the audience, and he'll be answering them. So let's see you shortly. Welcome back to Get Close to the Truth. Now, just before the break, we had Nigel, who was talking to us about the Kirlian photography, how he uses that photography and develops us in all areas that we need help with. That could be depression, that could be stress, that could be anxiety, that could be alcohol, could be drugs. He can kind of look at any area that we need help with. But now we're going to go into a few more questions that we've taken from the audience and from the viewers at home. But before we go into those questions, I looked at your website and I saw something about sensor sound. What is that?
Right. Well, sensor sound, it's basically a process that sends sound waves through water, and the individual lies on the actual water bed, and these sound waves oscillate all the cells within the body, internally and externally, and really it creates a sense of deep relaxation very quickly. And what we have is the person on the sensor sound wears headphones, and I can speak to them while they go into a deep relaxed state, so we can, offer suggestions, for example, if we have a particular outcome we're aiming for.
Excellent. Okay, perfect. So you use a mix of sensor sound, Kirlian photography, and your homeopathic, what you're registered in doing,
and hypnotherapy and transformational work, which is the kind of coaching, but it's kind of.
And let's talk about that. You do workshops, right?
Yes, we do.
So where are those workshops, and how do people, get in touch?
Well, they can go onto our website, which is positivemedicine.uk. It's not .co, it's .uk, or fullspectrumpresentations.com. There they'll find information on our workshops, so you can register for them. We run them all over the country. In Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, London, wherever there is a demand, we will go.
Excellent.
We introduce people to the Kirlian photography by in the workshop. We take before and after energy exercises and such.
Excellent. So let's say, for example, if I wanted to have, more confidence, is there like a specific workshop for that, or is it kind of one generic workshop that you're kind of looking at?
Well, it's kind of providing the basics so that you can understand how to do confidence. I mean, we're all confident in certain situations and we're not confident in other situations. So we introduce people to the multifaceted aspect of their personality, that people aren't usually what they think they are. They focus on a particular issue and it becomes a problem. We think that it's the focusing on the issue that creates the problem. If they were to look at it differently, they can change the way they feel about something, and that is the strength.
Wow.
But in order to do that, you have to wake up out of our sleep state, which we live in a kind of a low level of consciousness. I mean, we can drive and we do all this kind of stuff, but a lot of it's very automatic.
So would it be a fair comment to say they're actually going to what we call the subconscious mind and changing it from there, reprogramming it?
Well, the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind is what drives us. The conscious mind is trying to run the show, and it's not equipped for it. The conscious mind can only deal with 5 plus or minus 2 bits of information at any one time, whereas the unconscious can deal with 2 million pieces of information at any one time.
Wow.
So once we get caught up in the conscious mind, it gets overloaded very quickly and we start feeling stressed. We don't trust that we would know what to do next.
Right.
We try and work it out, and therefore it causes us stress.
Powerful stuff, Nigel, powerful stuff. Well, listen, let's go to the questions. We've got a question from Helen from Leeds. What is the difference between transformation and reformation?
Well, it's interesting if you look at that in the dictionary, they're quite similar. But I mean, really, transformation is much more about changing the way you look at something or you perceive it, whereas reformation is taking the thing you're looking at and changing that. And that can work out, you know, well, not as you expected. So transformation then really is a way of seeing something differently. And so therefore you change the way that you respond to it, as opposed to trying to change the actual thing.
Yeah, okay. So looking from another angle, basically.
Yeah. But one that's more likely to be successful.
Great. Okay, we've also got a question from Deepak from Harrow. What prevents a person from positive transformation?
Well, the thing is that if you don't know you're in a prison, why would you want to escape? So the first thing is, you know, do you know where you are now?
Yeah.
If you already feel that you have free choice, that you have free will, then why would you want to look for it? So what I would suggest is, firstly, get to know yourself. What have you become? You know, it might be terrifying once you first see it, but one of the rules that we have is, whatever you do not criticize or judge yourself. Just look at it without criticizing or judging. That will help a lot, because we have a tendency to see a part of our personality and then criticize it, which actually, or we have a habit, and this habit is going on, and then we become aware that we have the habit, so we criticize it.
And what's the common thing that, you know, people come to you about?
Anxiety as a big thing, that's especially in the younger people now, going to, you know, children. We see much more anxiety in children. Stress, obviously, it's a big thing.
So someone's got a lot of stress, okay, they come to you and say, listen, Nigel, in the day I'm stressing about, you know, the smallest things in life.
Yeah.
Then you'll then take them through the whole process. How quick is that process?
Well, how quickly can you actually understand what's happening? How are you doing stress? What are you actually doing to create your stress? This isn't something outside of you. Events happen. Some of them are pleasant, some of them unpleasant. But how you deal with that event makes the difference to you. So if you're being stressed, then obviously you're dealing with it inappropriately. So it's a very straightforward process. You have the power. You know, if you give the power away to someone else, then they have the power.
That's quite, you know, that's quite powerful what you're saying, because obviously you're saying that everyone has the power to change. It's whether they realize that they need to change.
Well, look, if you think it's somebody else who's making you feel, what does that mean? Somebody making you feel something. The way he speaks to me makes me feel stressed. Well, hang on. It's not to do with the way they speak to you. It's the way you're taking that. You know, you have a right not to be stressed. You have a right not to be angry. It's your choice. Why would you choose to be upset if you had a right not to be?
Yeah.
You can still deal with the situation, surely.
Wow.
But maybe differently.
Actually, I've never looked at it from that angle. You're right. I mean, it's actually, you know, if someone stresses out or actually somebody makes us angry, it's actually not their fault, it's my fault because I can't handle that.
Let's not take fault. We're not criticizing you for it. We're saying, look, this is a mechanical, habitual reaction. If you make that conscious, would you then choose it? And that gives you an option. And what we're doing is seeing if we can drop those other choices. People make the best choices they can at the time they're experiencing the situation. If they've got another one which is more beneficial, why wouldn't they take it? So what in the hypnotherapy work and the sensor sound work, we're dropping those suggestions into the unconscious. The critical mind doesn't actually have to have anything to do with it, so we relax that out of the way.
Powerful stuff. I love it. Right, so we've got another question. Nick from Melton Mowbray. Are there any side effects to homeopathic medicine?
Well,
for those who don't know homeopathic medicine, should we backtrack and say what is homeopathic medicine? So do you want to just tell the audience?
It works on a process of likes or similars curing similars. So somebody with, let's say, scarlet fever may get a dose of belladonna, which has been shown to create scarlet-type fever symptoms in a healthy person. So all homeopathic remedies have been tested on a healthy person first, so we can see the signature of that homeopathic remedy. Then when we see that signature in the client, the patient, we can prescribe them the specific remedy which creates it. And it kind of, what would I say? it changes the way, it cancels out what we would call the natural condition. The side effect of homeopathic medicine is you get cured. If you look at allopathic medicine, which is contraris, that means that if you've got diarrhea, you'll get something to constipate you. If you've got constipation, something to give you diarrhea. It's quite opposite. There's lots of side effects involved in that. But generally and also a lot of orthodox medicine is mainly involved with management, which is great, and it saves lives, which is great. But homeopathic medicine is much more engaged in, you do have the possibility of cure. If we can help you with this remedy, it will stimulate that. That vital element within us, that spiritual quality, we can enliven it with these medicines because they are energetic medicines.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Nigel, tell the audience again how they get hold of you.
Well, go to our website. It's positivemedicine.uk, or it's fullspectrumpresentations.com, and that one is about us coming to you, or if we take stuff out to people like Kirlian cameras and various other biofeedback equipment, so they can use it in workshops or exhibitions or whatever or private parties, even anything. We go out there, we entertain people, and we introduce them to this process.
Well, it's been lovely having you here, Nigel, and thank you so much. That's all we've got time for today, viewers at home. Do stay tuned in, and if you want any more information, go to www.amitkainth.co.uk, and we'll see you next week for more Get Closer to Truth. Thank you so much.
To find out more about Amit Kainth, please take a look at his new book called The Gift, 7 Laws of Success, out now in all major bookstores. This show is sponsored by Great Kingdom Palace, giving life a meaning.